Hello! Today we're going to go over dative and accusative case. I will be saying dative and accusative because this is going to be a lesson in English about German, so I don't want to have to go back and forth too much. Now, when a noun is in the accusative case, it is more or less saying that that noun is the direct object of the sentence. There are certain prepositions that will be used in a sentence that will for sure make a noun in the accusative case, regardless of whether or not it is the direct object. Those prepositions are durch, für, gegen, ohne, And you can say those in the tune of Happy Birthday to help you remember all the prepositions you need to know for the accusative case. Durch, für, gegen, ohne, durch, für, gegen, ohne, Hopefully that helps. Now, there are other prepositions that will make a noun in the accusative case, but they can go either way, so we're not going to include those in the list. The best way to know is just to look in context and see if that preposition is suggesting movement to or from that noun. When you have a noun in the accusative case, and it is masculine in gender, it's going to change the articles used. Instead of using der, you would use den. Instead of using ein, you would say einen. Instead of kein, you would say keinen. And all possessive endings are going to be en. So instead of mein, you would say meinen. Pronouns will also change when in the accusative case. Here is a slide that displays that. I'm not going to waste your time and read it, so here it is for your leisure to read and to use as a resource. Now we're going to work through some examples of the accusative case to make sure that we understand exactly what this means for us. So, here we go. Ich habe keine Katze. I don't have a cat. Now, I am the subject, ich. Katze will be in the accusative case because it is the direct object. I don't have what? I don't have a cat. That's a great way to know whether or not something is the direct object. It answers what. So, who is doing the action? I, subject. Doing what? Having. What am I having? Not a cat. That makes cat the direct object. Now you see, Katze is a feminine word, so we don't change anything about the article before it, keine. Keine is what you would normally use for the subject of a sentence. Also, what you'd use in accusative. Works out easily. Next sentence. Meine Eltern haben einen Hund gekauft. My parents bought a dog. So, let's break that down. Meine Eltern is the subject, and they bought, habe gekauft, einen Hund. So what did they buy? They bought a dog, making the dog the direct object. And you see with einen, it's not ein, because Hund is a masculine word, modifying the article used before it. Alles klar? Next sentence. Wir haben den Hund jetzt. We have the dog now. So, same idea. We are the subject. We have what? We have the dog. We use den instead of das. Or, I'm sorry, we use den instead of der because it's the accusative case. Alles klar? Let's move on. Mein Bruder und ich fahren zur Uni ohne unseren Hund. Okay, we can identify mein Bruder und ich as the subject because we're the ones who are doing the driving. And you would think that zu Uni would make Uni the accusative case because zu is a preposition that suggests movement. However, we will explain in the following slides that it is actually not accusative, rather dative. So don't worry about that just yet. Ohne, however, is in the song durch, für, gegen, ohne, So that will make Hund in the accusative case. So that's why we add the en to the end of unser, because it is a possessive possessive word, possessive article, and we were modifying that because of the accusative case. Now, the dative case is more or less saying that a noun is the indirect object. This case also has a list of prepositions that will definitely make a noun in the dative case. Those are aus, außer, bei, mit, nach, seit, von, zu, gegenüber. Now, there's also a song for this. It's not as clean because gegenüber is kind of tacked on at the end, but it's to the waltz. Aus, außer, bei, mit, nach, seit, von, zu, gegenüber. Aus, außer, bei, mit, nach, seit, von, zu, gegenüber. So, there you go. Hopefully that helps. The way I distinguish between the song that is for accusative and the one that is for dative, I'm more likely to hear the waltz when I go on a date than I am the birthday song. Because I'm classy, and I go on fancy dates. Not really, but whatever. It works for me. Now, there are prepositions that are going to make something dative as well, but are not going to do it every time like the ones that I just listed. So I didn't list it. The way that you understand that best is ones that are stationary. Prepositions that don't suggest movement. The way I remember that is by remembering dative, dative, dat, D-A-T. Dat is where it's at. It's staying there, it's not going anywhere. Dat is where it's at. Now, this is a little bit more complicated. You're going to have to just remember this cold, the way it is. There's this chart. Every single one of the articles are going to change, no matter what the gender, plural, whatever. Everything's going to change. So, take a look at that. I'm not going to go through it. That's just a resource for you to use. Enjoy. Now, just like the accusative case, the pronouns are going to change for the dative case. Here is that chart right here for you to use at your leisure as a resource. Now let's go through some examples to make sure that we really understand the dative case. Ich habe einen Hamster von Petco gekauft. I bought a hamster from Petco. Now, I bought, ich habe gekauft. What did I buy? I bought the hamster. That makes hamster, in the accusative case, we modify ein to einen because we know that in the accusative case, that article will change. Now, where did I buy it from? Von comes from the song, the waltz song of prepositions. Aus, außer, bei, mit, nach, seit, von, zu, gegenüber. Okay, so we know that Petco is going to be dative. We're not going to use an article, but just know that Petco is dative. Next sentence. Ich habe einem Freund von mir den Hamster gegeben. So, I gave a friend of mine the hamster. Ich habe gegeben. I am the subject. I gave. I gave what? Answering the accusative question. The hamster. Okay, so we know the hamster is in the accusative case. And then we are going to ask ourselves, to or for whom? When we answer that question, we'll find what's in the dative case. So, I gave the hamster to or for whom? Einem Freund, a friend. That's why we put the em ending on ein, because Freund is in the dative case. Now, von mir, von, is one of the prepositions that will definitely make a noun into the dative case. So we change the personal pronoun for yourself to mir, which is the dative version of ich. Got it? Let's move on to the next question. Der Freund von mir hat mir angerufen und hat gesagt, dass seinen Hamster verloren hat. And that's kind of sad, because it translates to, the friend of mine had given me a call and he said that he had lost his hamster. Okay, so let's break it down. Der Freund is a subject. Von mir, we know, is dative because of von. And then he called me, hat angerufen, that's the call, mir. Called who? Me. So we use the dative first person, mir. Okay, so we got past that part. And he said, hat gesagt, that he lost his hamster. Dass seinen Hamster verloren hat. Okay, so he lost, okay, subject, verb, lost what? His hamster. So his hamster is accusative, so we put the en ending on sein, and that's the end of that sentence. We've worked through it. Now, the last sentence is Darum habe ich in meinem Bett geweint. Which is, that's why I cried in my bed. Because he lost the hamster that I gave him. And I'm emotional. God dang it. So, here we go. Let's break the sentence down. That's why darum habe ich geweint. That's why I cried in meinem Bett. So you can see that there's an em ending on mine, which only happens in dative case. So, why is bet dative? Because we're using the preposition in. And in suggests stationary action. So I'm crying in my bed. I'm not crying to my bed. I'm not going into my bed. I am already there. I'm not moving. So that's why bet is in the dative case. Hopefully that was helpful for you. That concludes our lesson today. Please leave any comments if you need any help, and I'll be glad to help you work through your questions.